going to look at contextual questions. All right. The contextual exam type questions. So all these questions come from exams. Okay. They're not created by me. They are exam type questions because we need to familiarize ourselves with how they write these exam questions. There's a certain way that these questions are set, and it's good for you to get used to how they set the questions, how the questions read, what they're asking from you in each question. That is a skill in itself. Never mind the math literacy that we've taught you, never mind the calculations we've done. Interpreting contextual math literacy questions is an important skill on its own. So yes, we are covering all the topics in revision, but this is also a time for you to familiarize yourself with exam questions and how they ask them. All right, it's very important. Okay. Now, because we're doing measurement, we're going to start off with the conversion section of measurement first. And often, if they want to examine on conversions, they will give you a recipe question or a shopping list question. So here is our first question. Now, I don't know if you can all see it. The diagram and the picture is not important. It's the information in here that's important. All right, so let's go through this question. There's a lot to interpret here. So it says, Mbali and Rajesh own a small bakery. Mbali bakes birthday cakes, and they are circular. All right, and she uses the recipe below. So maybe there's a follow-on question here for measurement. If it's a circular birthday cake, they mentioned that it's circular, but this is the recipe for the cake. Now, the recipe is a 23 centimeter round carrot cake. All right, it serves 8. This is for 8 people. If you have 16 people, you're going to have to double everything in this recipe. If you have 4 people, you might want to halve this recipe. So that's why when they tell you the serving over here, it tells you how much this recipe, how many people you can feed. There's a preparation time, 25 minutes. That's preparing the cake mixture. That's not cooking. That's preparing the cake mixture. And then here we have the cooking time, which is 1 hour and 30 minutes. And then we have an instruction to preheat the oven to 170 degrees. We then followed by a long list of ingredients. Yo, carrot cake is quite complicated. All right, a long list of ingredients. We got grams of flour, mils of cinnamon, milliliters of sugar, milliliters, eggs, grams, milliliters. All right, so it looks like we got grams and milliliters, and then we got 4 eggs over there. Here's a question for you. Which system of measurement, which system of units is this one? There's 2 unit systems I taught you. One that the foreigners use and one that we use. Who can tell me what system are they using? What units system are they using in this recipe? Metric. Very good. Well done. So this is a metric recipe. So obviously someone in the UK or South Africa decided to build this one. If it came from the United States, it would be in ounces and things like that. In fact, the UK one also comes in ounces. So this is probably a South African recipe here because we like to use a metric system all the time. All right, there's information in the question. They say study the recipe and answer the questions that follow. Now I'm going to revert back to the recipe often. All right, so let's have a look at the first question. Excuse me. Convert the total mass of flour. You guys are going to do this. Convert the total mass of flour, brown sugar, and carrots to kilograms. Converts the total mass of the flour, brown sugar, and carrots to kilograms. So I'm going to go up to the recipe, look for flour, brown sugar, and carrots. I'll point it out to you. Flour, brown sugar, and carrots, and convert it to kilograms, please. You can just write the 3 values, one underneath each other. So we do flour first, then brown sugar, and then carrots. All right, should take you a minute. This shouldn't be long. Should take you a minute to do this one. Converting those masses for those 3 into kilograms. We can see that they're all in grams. Convert them into kilograms. Let's see if you guys know how to do that. Remember, at any time, if you're not sure, please ask Tia Kia or ask myself if you need some help. But you should all be able to convert those grams into kilograms. Should take you about a minute to get those 3 values. easy marks here. There's 3 marks worth, and it doesn't take much to convert these. So very nice question 1. All right, you guys should have answers already. You can keep your answers in front of you. If you want to put them in chat, you can, but just keep them in front of you on your piece of paper. We're going to check them as we go. All right, so I'm just going to write you question 1. Let's get through this one quickly. There's a lot of questions tonight. So question 1, I want to change these to kilograms. Just remember the conversion diagrams that I drew for you guys. If we have the kilogram as a unit of measurement and we have grams here to the left, all right, and you can have milligrams to the left of that even, and tons to the right. Okay, how do we go from kilograms to milligrams? Who can tell me? What are we going to do? What math are we going to do to go from kilograms, sorry, to grams? What are we going to do? What calculation are we going to do? Anyone have an idea? Busisiwe. Excellent. Yes,
Hey,
Busisiwe.
sir.
How are you?
Sir, by my understanding, I think we divided by 1,000.
Okay. All right. Good. If we go from kilograms to grams, we are going to divide by 1,000. No, apologies. Yes, yes, you are right. I'm wrong because this arrow needs to be the other way. We're not going from kilograms to grams. We're going from grams to kilograms. Yes. So your divide by 1,000 is correct for that. If we go the other way, then we're going to times by 1,000. Very good. So if we take, stay with me, you're going to tell me what your answers are. All right, what did you get for the flour? Was to see, were you still there? All right, I think was to see is gone. She mentioned that we need to divide by 1,000 for the flour, get an answer there. We're also going to divide the brown sugar, whoopsie, by 1,000 and get an answer there. Please note how I'm writing the units always. Okay, so the calculator, come do your job. So 340 divided by 1,000, and we get 0.34 kilograms. And then 225 divided by 1,000, we should get 0.225. Now, I'm going to round this off on the screen. So I'm looking at the second decimal. Excuse me. The second decimal is a 2. Will it be changed? Yes, it will. The 5 that's next to the second decimal will change it. So I'm going to write 0.23 kilograms. Why am I rounding off to 2 decimal places? Because the instruction on your exam should say round off to 2 decimal places unless stated otherwise. Unless they ask you to do something else, you always round off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so everyone should have those answers. Yes, there we go. Answers on the screen. Very good. Okay, so check your answers there. That's what you should have for question 1. All right. So just converting within the metric system. We should be okay with that. If there's any questions, guys, remember, please feel free to ask. All right, question 2. Write down the simplified ratio. They want a simplified ratio, and we need to take golden syrup and lemon juice. Take these 2 things, all right? And you see the word 2 there? You put your colon there. All right, so you need golden syrup on the left and lemon juice on the right. Where is my golden syrup? Write these out. Golden syrup is over here, 125, and my lemon juice is 5. So it's 125 milliliters is to 5 milliliters. All right. So golden syrup on the left, lemon juice on the right. Now, they wanted a simplified ratio. In fact, if they just say write down the ratio, you should always simplify it. So we must practice to simplify the ratio. Okay. All right. Now, how do we work with ratios? Well, just like a fraction, what you do on the one side, you must do to the other. And this 5, we're going to try to get that to 1. One of these must be 1. Usually it's 1 on the left, the smaller one on the left, but we've got the big one on the left. So let's take this 5 and try and get it to a 1. How do we get 5 to 1? We need to divide it by 5. And we must do it to the other number on the left as well. So 5 divided by 5 on the left is 1. And 125 divided by 5, yes. Let's check it with a calculator. 125 divided by 5 is 25. So this is 25 moles on the left. Okay. Now, ratios are unitless, so you don't have to write the units there. So 25 to 1 is an acceptable answer. Okay. All right. Hope you guys are getting that. Please feel free to stop me at any time. Okay, we're moving on to question 3. Whoops, that's a big jump. All right, here's question 3. Bali shares the recipe with a sister who lives in Australia. Her sister uses the oven that only has degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, it says convert 170 degrees to degrees Fahrenheit. Use the formula. They always give you this formula. You don't have to remember it. They'll always give you this formula. So we just take the formula and we're going to sub in our values. So I'll just write the formula out. Just so to get degrees Fahrenheit, you must take degrees Celsius and multiply it by 1,8, and then you must add 32 degrees. Okay, so the degrees Celsius they gave us 170 degrees. We must multiply by 1,8. Guys, have your answers ready? And then add 32 degrees. All right. You guys getting the same thing? I'll move the calculator over a bit. So 170 times 1,8. Have your answers ready? Have your answers ready? $338 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you write your units. Okay, nice and easy. So we substituted into the formula. We just took the 170 degrees Celsius and put it there where it says degrees Celsius and let the calculator do the rest of the work with us. All right. I hope you guys are getting the same answers. All right, good. Well done. Good job. All right, here we go. That question was 3 marks. That is an easy 3 marks. You're hoping they give you that for 3 marks. Usually it's 2, maybe 1, but usually it's 2. Oh, you're hoping they give you 3 marks for that. All right, next question number 4. Excuse me, it says, Mbali starts preparing to bake at 9:10. At what time will the cake be ready for serving? Whew. Starts to bake at 9:10. What time will it be ready? So she starts preparing to bake at 9:10. At what time will the cake be ready for serving? Right at the end. Okay. So remember, she starts at 9:10. Now I'm going to go up to the question here. All right. There's the information. And what information are we actually looking at here? We need to look at this part here. All right. I'm going to write here, starts, preparation at 9:10. Okay. What time will the cake be ready? Now, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to do this, and then I'm going to need someone to help me. Give you 2 minutes, and then I need someone to help me do this one. She starts preparing at 9:10. When will the cake be ready to serve, to eat? This is question 4. Yes, of course, Emmanuel. Of course. All right. Just give you guys another minute. Starts preparing at 9:10. When will the cake be ready? All right, there's Quenza with an answer there. All right, Chiama got an answer there. She starts preparing this cake at 9:10. When will it be ready to eat or to serve? All right, we got answers coming through. All right, Katlejo. Manuel's asked if he can answer this one, but please, let's remember Katlejo there, Kia, and then we can ask Katlejo to help with the next one. All right, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you ready?
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just organize
Wait,
myself.
just a second, sir. Let me just check it. Sorry, let me just check it.
No problem. No problem.
Just 30. Yes, I am ready now. Sorry.
All right. Let me read the question one more time, and then you're going to get you to answer. So at the bottom here, it says 224. And Mbali starts preparing to bake at 9:10. At what time will the cake be ready for serving? All right. Okay. What do you want to do? Emmanuel, how do we do this one?
Okay, so can you like write it down so that you can make sense of it as I?
Of course I will.
Now, so you're going to say 09 and like the way you wrote the time in a ratio form, right? So it's
Yes.
09 as to 10, right?
Yeah, that's the starting time. Yeah.
And then you say plus over it, like under. You're going to write the next one under it.
Next one underneath. Oh, like a soldier's home. All right. Okay. So plus, yes.
0130. That's for 1 hour 30 minutes.
0130. Okay.
And then underneath it, you're also going to add the 25 minutes, which is 00 as to 25.
All right. Okay, let me stop you there and then explain exactly what you're doing. So what Emmanuel's doing is he's taking the start time here. All right. We have to start from 9:10 and he's adding on 2 things. Okay. What is he adding on? He's adding on the preparation time because the question says, and I wrote it here, starts preparing at 9:10 and the preparation takes 25 minutes. Then the cooking takes 1 hour and 30. So Emmanuel's got the prep time here of 25 minutes and the cooking time in his sum over here. All right. And he's adding it onto the 9 hours and 10 minutes. All right, Emmanuel, what did you get?
So I got 11 as to 05. And that's the time. So 11 as to 05 a.m.
Okay. A.m. Now, very good, Emmanuel. Excellent job. Fantastic. Okay, let me explain what he's done now to get the 11:05 at the bottom. So Emmanuel's written this out as a like a soldier sum, one on top of the other. And what he's done is he's add the columns up. Okay, so if we look now at the right-hand side, the 0, 0, and the 5, he's adding those minutes up first. He's saying 0 and 0 plus 5 is 5. So he's got his 5 there. Then he's going to go to these numbers here, the 1, the 3, and the 2. And he's saying, I've got 10 and 30 and 20. So that's 1, 3, 2 is 60 minutes. Now, you've got to be careful because we're not dealing with normal number systems now. We're dealing with time. And if we're in the minutes column and we get 60 minutes makes an hour. All right, which is the left-hand side. Okay, so we need to take the 60 that he's added up here and make it an hour and move it on to the left. So I'm putting a little 1 here at the top. You can see it there to say I need to take my 1 over to that side there and add it on. Okay, so now we're adding up the hours. We got 1 and 9 is 10 plus 1 is 11 hours. All right, so that's how he's added it up. Very good, Emmanuel. Excellent job. That's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to show you another way to do it as well. But this method is absolutely correct. Well done. Now I'm going to show you another method. Just remember that 1105. Some of you must have used this method. You might have said, I need to take my 90 and add on some time. All right. Now, you know me, guys. I like to use brackets. Okay, so this in the bracket here is the time I need to add on. And like Emmanuel did, I'm adding the preparation time, and I'm also adding the cooking time. Okay, so that's 1 hour 30, and that's 25 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this bracket. And 25 minutes and an hour 30 gives me an hour and 55 minutes. All right, because the 25 and the 30 make 55. All right, now I'm going to come to this sum here. And the first thing I need to do is add the minutes here. All right, the 10 to the 55. When I add 10 to the 55, very similar to what Emmanuel did, 10 and 55 is 65. Now 60 minutes makes an hour. So I'm going to pull that 60 out and I'm going to put it somewhere. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to say, well, the 9 and the 1 makes 10 hours, but I need another 1 from my 60. So that's going to be 11. And then it's going to be 1105. All right, that's another way of doing it. Now, let's check our calculators here, guys. Because calculators also have minutes. But this is going to confuse some of you because we've got degrees there. I don't want that to confuse you. But you need to have a look at your calculator because your calculator can also add time. All right, it does it all for you. So please, when you got some spare time, try and add this sum up using this button here. All right. 155 plus 0. In fact, let's go back and delete to make it 9, 10. All right. Oh, syntax error because we've got to add. Let's go here and delete that. And then go to the end and do it again. In fact, if we just do it like this, it should be fine. This time function should be able to add hours and minutes here too. Let's go there and then type in 55 and then 00. Well, I'm putting the thing in the wrong place. Yes. Let's put them in a different place. Let's do this. 9 and then 10 and then 1 and 55. There we go. All right. So you put the little markers behind and then it'll add times and time in terms of hours and minutes for you. It can get a little bit confusing because these degree signs actually come from coordinate systems. So, but the coordinate system also works in 60 minutes and hours. So this is why this works. So try and play around with this function on the calculator because that can also add time. So this is 11 hours and 5 minutes and 0 seconds. I don't want to confuse you too much with this. So play around with it on your own and see if you can do the sum on your own. But the calculator also has an option to add time for you. But thank you, Emmanuel. Perfect soldier sum method. You can think of it of doing it like this as well if you want. All right, excellent. Any questions, guys? All right, let me go back to it. Oh, you see, I didn't want to confuse you guys by this button now. It's this button here under the word fact. All right, it's got a little degree symbol. Okay, it's got a degree and then a comma and then a double comma. All right, so I'll do it again one more time. So you can say 9 and then press the button, and then 10 and press the button, and it knows that that's hours and minutes. And then you add on 1 hour, 55 minutes. I know it looks like a degree sub, but the calculator knows it's minutes. And then you just press equals. Now to read the answer here, it's 11 hours and 5 minutes and 0 seconds. So it always gives an answer in hours, minutes, and seconds. All right, but please don't let that distract you from what you guys did, your method like Emmanuel here. But go play around with that button and try add some time up, because that can also help you get the answer. Any way that we get the answer is good. All right, let's move on to question 5. I'm going to remove question 2 so we can create some space here. All right, going down to question 5. Let's have a look. It says, Bali used 5 dozen eggs. Determine the maximum number of cakes she baked. All right, let's understand this question. Bali made these cakes, all right, because it says at the top, they own a bakery. So they're making a lot of cakes here. All right, now they used 5 dozen eggs to make their cakes. It says here, they used 5 dozen eggs to make their cakes. Determine the maximum number of cakes, that she could bake. All right, where's the information about the eggs? Yeah, here it is at the bottom. This cake needs 4 eggs, but Mbali used 5 dozen eggs. Now we all know that a dozen is 12. All right, so how many cakes do you think that Mbali could make if she used 5 dozen eggs? All right, what's the maximum that she could make? Yes, okay, good. A dozen equals 12. She used 5 dozen. All right, so I'll write it here underneath. She used 5 dozen, and each dozen is 12 eggs, but the cake only needs 4. So she made a lot of cakes. How many cakes could she make with 5 dozen eggs if this recipe needs 4? This cake needs 4 eggs. She's got 5 dozen. How many cakes can she make? Answers are coming in. All right. Yes, good job. 12 times 5. So Kile, to get how many eggs she's using, and then you got to do something with the 4. 12 times 5, she's going to have 60 eggs to work with. So how many cakes? You see, so she's got 60 eggs. She's like, how many cakes can I make if I've got 60 eggs? How many cakes can she make with 60 eggs if one cake needs 4? All right, we've got answers coming in thick and fast. Okay, Katlejo with some calculations there. All right, there we go, Katlejo. All right, just like Katlejo was saying, let's work out how many eggs she has. She's got 5 dozen. A dozen is 12. So we're going to say 5 times 12. We don't need a calculator for that. That is 60 eggs. Now we need to know how many cakes can she make if she's got 60 eggs. This cake takes 4. So what do we need to do with the 60 and the 4? There we go, Lungile. All right. So 60, she got 60 eggs. How many eggs for one cake? It's 4. So let's cut the 60 eggs up into groups of 4 and see how many we have. All right. How many 4s can I get out of her 60 eggs? Go to the calculator. Come here, calculator, do some work for me. All right, so divide by 4 equals 15. All right, so she's got 15 groups of 4. She can make 15 cakes. Okay. Very good. Yes, you guys are getting it. Excellent. All right. Remember, please stop me at any time. Raise your hand. Send Bam a message. Send me a message. Ask if you guys need help with anything. All right, we're going to move on to question 6. We're flying through this one. I'm going to take away question 3, so we got space for question 6. All right, you guys should start reading question 6. It says, the cost price of one cake is 450 Rand. To determine the selling price, Mbali and Rajesh increase the cost price by 45%. Determine the profit. Now, this is a grade 11 type question. Okay, grade 10s, you're welcome to give it a go. But grade 11s, you guys should be looking at this one. The cost price, excuse me, the cost price is 450 Rand. The selling price, you have to increase the cost by 45%. Determine the profit. Okay, now, how do we get profit? I'll write that for you down. To get profit, we take our selling price minus our cost price. That's all I'm going to tell you. Try this one on your own, and let's see what you get, and then we'll compare answers. All right? Try this one on your own. It's a bit of a finance question, but they throw finance, probability, anything into these contextual questions. So we're going to try this one. Grade 11, you should be able to do this. Grade 10s, please feel free. How do we work out the profit? We need selling and cost. They give us a cost price down here. It's 450, and they tell us the selling price. Increase the cost by 45% to get your selling price. Then what's the profit? I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we're going to try this one. Sure. Got some fast answers already. The speed is incredible. Hope the quality is good. Emmanuel said, are you thinking 5 cakes? Or someone's thinking 5 cakes. All right, they just want 1 cake. So the question says the cost price of 1 cake, and then you got to work out the profit of 5. All right, don't forget that. Sure, Wanga, that's a big number. I think there's a decimal missing somewhere. All right. Let's have a look. You guys should have something in front of you there. Okay. Let's have a look and see if we've covered everything in this question. There's a lot of little things to this question. First of all, let's work out what is the selling price of 1 cake. First, let's work that out. Okay. So the selling price, we have to take the cost price and increase it by 45%. Now, this is not working out what is 45% of 450. Not saying that. They're saying take 450, make it bigger by 45%. Now, we could do this by just multiplying like I taught you the short method, all right? What you guys might be doing is saying 450 times 45%, 45 over 100, and then adding that on to 450 again, okay? I'm sure some of you are doing that method, but I taught you such a cool, quick method to do this instead of doing 2 steps, we just multiply by 1, comma, and then the 45% is written there behind the decimal. Okay, so this will give us a selling price. So let's work that out quickly. So it's 450 times 1.45, and that'll give us 652,5, 652,5, so 652,50. So that is our selling price. So we've got our cost price and our selling price. Now we need to work our profit. Okay, so this is just one cake here, guys. Both of these is for one cake. Just remember that. We've got to think about 5 later on. Okay, let's work at the profit for one cake. So the profit, like we see in the formula, is take your selling price, which is 652,5, and subtract your cost price, which is 450. All right. So I'm just going to take this answer and subtract 450. And that gives me 202,5. Now, so a lot of people saying this is 202,5. So you guys did very well up until here. One little thing, I think Emmanuel pointed out, we need to work out the profit for 5 cakes. Okay. So we need to take this profit for one cake, and all we do is multiply it by 5. So take your 202.50 that you got and multiply it by 5. All right. So these are 202.50 multiplied by 5. So 1012,5. 1012,5. So you guys did well to get up to the 202.50, but they were asking for 5 cakes in the end. Okay. So Keely, the cost price does include expenses. So we're going to do an analysis like that in this revision section, where we work out the break-even point in a business. The cost price does include your expenses. They haven't gone into detail what that is, but in another section later on in this course, we will break that down. They'll say, these are your fixed expenses, these are your variable expenses. So altogether, the cost will be this. They've included it all here. We don't have to worry about that now, but yes, it is still coming when we do a break-even analysis. Okay. All right. So well done to everyone. Now, someone asked me to come back to question 4. I'm going to come back to that one again. I'm going to show you the calculator buttons that we use for that. I just want to move on to the next question. If you can remind me again, I will come back to question 4 to show you how we did it on the calculator. But let's move on to the next question here. Moving away from conversions and moving on to distance and area. Okay, so here is our next contextual question. All right, it says, the picture below shows the US F-22 fighter plane wingspan. So there's the jet, and they're showing you the wingspan from wingtip to wingtip there at the top, and they're saying it's 13,56 meters. And then there's some information over here. It says distance from New York to London is 5,585 meters. It takes this plane 2,32 hours flying non-stop at maximum speed to get to London. Sure. From New York to London, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. That's incredible. All right. Let's see what the questions say. The questions say, for 1.4.1, convert the fighter plane's wingspan into centimeters. All right, everyone should be able to do this one. Convert the wingspan, which is 13,56 meters, into centimeters. You should ask yourself, how many centimeters in a meter? Everyone should be able to answer that one. 1 meter has 100 centimeters. So if I've got 13,56 meters, I need to multiply that by 100. All right, 13,56 times 100. 1356. So 1356 centimeters. Yes, very good. Kia ora, Tilia, well done. Katleho, good job. So just multiplying by 100 because these are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. All right, here, this is the question that I really want us to grapple with. I remember doing this, Kia, I don't know if you can remember. We did a speed, distance, and time question when we first did measurement beginning of the year. Oh, Remember that one?
It was chaos.
It was chaos. I'll never forget it. All right, so here is a speed, distance, and time question, guys. Let's wrestle with this. Okay, let's wrestle with this. It's question 142. Let's have a look. It says, calculate the F-22 fighter plane's top speed to the nearest 100 kilometer per hour. So that's our rounding. And you may use the formula speed equals, speed equals distance over time. All right, so we need to get speed. For that, we need a distance and a time. So what is our distance and what is our time? They're obviously talking about this piece of text here from New York to London. If you look in that text, it says the distance from New York to London is 5,585 kilometers. Well, we need a time. Well, they tell us the time is 2,32 hours. Please note, and Tia Kia is being very quiet because I've been doing it every time. Usually, she reminds me to write the units. I've written units everywhere. Okay, guys, please remember to write your units, especially for a question like this. So we've got a distance, we've got a time. We just need to put this into the formula. Okay, so to get our speed, put it into the formula and tell me what you get. But your answer better be rounded off to the nearest 100 kilometers. All right, guys, what do you get? Put it in and let me know. Everyone should be putting it into their calculators, the distance and their time, and telling me a speed. Sure. Kia Tilly's got an answer there. 2,400 kilometers per hour. Can you imagine? 2,400 kilometers per hour. Yo, guys and girls, that's
Insane.
it's insane. That'll get you from New York to London in 2.5 hours. That's incredible. All right, are you all getting an answer? All right, we got 2407, another 2400, 2408, 2407. You guys should all be getting answers there in your calculator. Okay, we're seeing answers there. So let's put it in. So 5,585 kilometers at the top and 2,32 hours at the bottom. Now, I'm going to press the buttons in the calculator. We're going to get an answer out. Please pay attention to what I'm showing you now. In the speed, distance, and time formula, if you give the formula kilometers and you give the formula hours, you will get kilometers per hour out. All right. If you give the formula minutes or meters and you give the formula minutes, do not expect kilometers per hours to come out. You give this thing those units, it will give it right back to you. Okay. So you put something into this machine, it will spit the same thing out for you. So if you give it kilometers and hours, then the units that come out will be in kilometers per hours. Please remember that. Okay. So that's why I'm writing the units here to see what is this formula going to give me, because the question wants kilometers per hour. I have to give this formula kilometers per hour. If the question wants kilometers per minute, I've got to change something because at the moment I've got hours. All right. But the question wants kilometers per hours. So I can see here the units I'm putting into the formula are correct for what the question wants. Be careful of that. Okay. All right. So now let's get our calculator. Let's move it over quickly. So I need a fraction. So we only got 5,585, and at the bottom I need 2,32 hours. All right, I've got the number there. I'm gonna change it in a second. There's another thing I want to tell you. This time is in decimal hours. When we spoke about this, we spoke about 2 ways you can write time. There's decimal hours and there's hours and minutes. Two separate ways to write time. This formula, the speed equals distance over time formula, only takes decimal hours. Thank goodness the question gave us time in decimal hours, because this formula only takes it in decimal hours. Don't try and put hours and minutes. So if I wanted to work out this time here, 2,32 in hours and minutes, I could say take the 0,32 of an hour, 0,32. I'm going to take that piece of it. Don't worry about the 2 hours. I'm just taking the 0,32 hours. How many minutes is that? Times about 60, and that'll be 19,2 minutes. So in terms of hours and minutes, 2,32 can be written as 2 hours and 19,2 minutes. All right. So that's how you write time in hours and minutes versus decimal hours. This formula only takes decimal hours. If the question they gave you gives you the time like this, you will have to convert it into decimal hours first. This is what caused the problems the first time we did this. Okay, so be careful of these questions. You're praying they give you the time in decimal hours, and they did, thank goodness. Otherwise, we'd have to change it into decimal hours before we can put it into this formula. All right, please remember that. Okay, so here comes our there we go. So here is our answer. I'm going to write the whole thing out. 2407,3275. 2407,3275. 2407,3275. There are more decimals. I'm not going to write them all out. I just need these ones for now. And this is speed in kilometers per hour. Why in kilometers per hour? Because that's what I put in to the formula. Okay. Now, let me just move this down. We are not done yet because I'm going to come back to it. We are not done yet because the question said you need to round this off to the nearest 100 kilometers per hour. Now, where are the hundreds of kilometers per hour? These are the units. These are the tens of kilometers per hour. These are the hundreds of kilometers per hour. These are the thousands of kilometers per hour. Okay, we just want the hundreds, which is this 4. And we got to round this 407 to the nearest 100. So is the 407 nearer to 400 or is it nearer to 500? Where is 407? It's got to be closer to the 400. So 407 is nearer to 400. So this rounded off is 2,400 kilometers per hour. Okay, so you will get a lot of marks for getting up to this point here. You'll probably get 3 marks out of the 4 if you get up to the 2,407,3275. Even if you rounded this part off, okay, you'll only get 3 marks. The final mark is going to be rounding it off to the nearest 100. All right. Okay. Yes, Olebogeng, I should never even have shown you the time button. Just pretend you didn't see it. But sometimes it can be useful, especially if you know how to use it properly. It can get you the time pretty quickly. But I want you to practice that on yourself. I will show you one more time, but I'm not going to, you shouldn't rely on it. You should rely on the calculations that you know. All right. I should never have shown you, but it is there. You know, if it's there, why can it not help you? The calculator is there to help you. So, but we don't like to use it because it can get confusing. You don't like to show it in class. All right.
Teacher Dale, I don't know if maybe you want to explain how you got the 19,2 from the
All right.
2,32 hours. I typed it in chat, but I don't know if maybe it will be better with voice
All right.
and everything.
Yes. Okay, let's go back to this because I know this is the guys, the matrics also struggle with this. They forget to do this all the time. So If you feel like what, don't worry. Please don't worry. The matrics also forget to do this. Okay. So you do know that there's two different time formats. Okay. We have decimal hours and we have hours and minutes. All right. So there they are on the left there. The same time, one in decimal hours on the left and one in hours and minutes on the right. Now, we didn't have hours and minutes. Thank goodness, because the speed, distance, time formula, this formula here, when you put your time in, okay, has to be in decimal hours. All right. So if they give you decimal hours, you're very happy. If they give you hours and minutes, you will have to convert to decimal hours. So let's say we had 2 hours like this, they wrote it like this, and 19,2 minutes. Okay, we got to change that into decimal hours. All right, now think about this. Here is a decimal hour, 0,5 hours. What is that in minutes? You should all be able to tell me. What is 0,5 hours in minutes? Everyone should be able to put that in chat. 0,5 hours, half an hour? How many minutes is that? Everyone should be able to tell me. Okay, it's 30 minutes. So you can see how decimal hours and hours and minutes are different. Okay, so how we go from hours and minutes on the right to decimal hours on the left. This is what we do. We take our minutes, which is 30. We say how many minutes out of 60 is that? You divide by 60 and it'll tell you it's 0,5 of an hour. All right, because an hour is 60 minutes. So then I can do the same method here. Instead of saying 30 minutes, I don't have 30 minutes. I've got 19,2 minutes out of 60. Okay, what is that as a decimal? And it'll tell you it's 0,32. Okay, so 2 hours and 19,2 minutes. This 19,2, you just say 19,2 divided by 60. All right, and it'll give you 0,32 hours in decimal format. So we've got 2 hours here already, and now we've got 0,32 hours. So together that is 2,32 hours. All right. Now, why do you want to know to go from decimal hours back to hours and minutes? You don't really, unless the question wants you to, but with the speed, distance, and time formula, they only want you to work in decimal hours. Okay, luckily this question gave it to us, but if they give you hours and minutes, it's very tricky if they do. It's naughty because it's another level. It takes this question to a whole nother level. If they do that, you're going to have to convert it to decimal hours. So just remember, the speed, distance, and time formula takes decimal hours. Please don't forget that. They usually give it to you. Sometimes they don't. You're going to have to remember that. All right. Also remember, for a speed, distance, and time question, I'm going to go up to the top here to remind you. The units you put in to this formula are the units you're going to get out. If you put meters and minutes in, you're going to get meters and minutes out. If you put meters and minutes in, don't expect kilometers per hours to come out. Okay. So what you give this formula is what you're going to get out. All right. Phew. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we've covered a lot here.